In part 1 we covered how to get geared up as a beginner and what types of armour and equipment you really need. In this video, part 2, we're focusing on how to find armour in Star Citizen, with a special look at the Hathor Align and Mine locations. So if that sounds good, make yourself comfortable, I'll roll the intro and I'll see you in the video. Hello 7 citizens, and welcome to part 2 of my armour looting series. Broadly speaking, there are 4 main ways to get armour in Star Citizen: buying it from shops, buying it with real money, trading with other players, or looting it directly in the verse. Let's break each one down, starting with the most obvious. The simplest way to get armour is to buy it from the in-game shops. Most major landing zones and space stations sell armour sets, helmets, backpacks and undersuits. This is a good option if you want something reliable and immediate. You know what you're getting and you don't have to take any risks. The downside is variety and cost. Many of the cooler looking or rarer armour sets simply aren't sold in shops. And as a new player especially, the price of these items isn't cheap. I've already showed you in part 1 how to work around that, so you never need to spend your early game alpha UEC on gear. So shops are great for basics, but they aren't where the great gear lives. The second option is the pledge store, which lets you buy armour sets using real money or Twitch drops campaigns, which recently debuted on Star Citizen with a Geist Epoch set. These sets are permanent to your account and will always be available to you after wipes, which is appealing to some players. But it's important to be really clear. Pledge store armour doesn't give you a gameplay advantage, it's mostly cosmetic. For this series, we're not focusing on real money gear, though I would encourage you to acquire the Twitch drops for free. You absolutely don't need to spend any of your money in real life to be effective in the game. The third option is trading with other players. Global chat, Discord servers, and tools like UEX let players buy, sell, and trade armour sets with each other. This is a great way to get rare gear without hunting it for yourself, especially if you're short on time. But again, you're paying for convenience. You're skipping the gameplay loop that actually teaches you where the armour comes from and how to survive while getting it. Plus quite a lot of fun in my personal opinion. The other problem here, as of January 26 and patch 4.5, is the game economy is terribly broken. There's trillions of in-game creds flying around that have been illicitly acquired, making the prices extortionate and the value of items on the player market wildly disproportionate to their actual value in-game. Once the economy settles, just for info, there's likely to be a wipe soon, as potentially as early as patch 4.6. This is a great way to get gear, and I have a video on my channel about how to go about this. However, as of January 2026, I would be very cautious about using the player market. And that brings us to the core of this series. The best way to get armour in Star Citizen is to go into the verse and take it. This costs nothing but time, teaches you the game, and rewards exploration, planning, and survival. This is where locations like Hathor Align and Mine sites come in. Armour can be found almost anywhere NPCs exist. Bunkers, derelict outposts, wrecks, caves and sandbox locations like the Hathor or ASD facilities. NPC enemies will drop the armour they're wearing when killed, and the loot crates especially in these locations often contain the best helmets, chest pieces, legs, arms, backpacks and undersuits that you can find. Align and Mine sites are especially good for beginners because they're predictable and repeatable, but they're not easy. The NPC presence is heavy, and they can cause you some problems if you're unprepared. These locations are also heavily PvP orientated. Small and large groups regularly fight over the Hathor locations, so don't expect a quiet run, just a challenging, fun and rewarding one, if you survive. That's where the rest of the video I'm going to take you through how I approach the Hathor PAF and OLP sites. The loadout we acquired in part 1 is perfectly sufficient. All you need is patience and awareness. So let's head on down to Hathor. I've done a quick costume change, jumped into my regular plunder outfit. Everything that we acquired in part 1 you can do this game loop with. I'm taking my Zeus and my usual Morozov and Orc armor mix with my Parallax assault rifle, which is one of my favourite weapons to use to run within the game. And we're going to head on down to Daymar in Hurston to do our first platform alignment facility run. So let's head on out of Seraphim Station and get ourselves en route to the Align and Mine location. There are 4 of these in Stanton, 2 on Daymar, 2 on Aberdeen in Hurston. I'm based here in Hurston as my home location, so I'm using the Crusader sites on Daymar. There's 2 on each of those 2 planets. Lamina and Atreus are the 2 in Crusader, and Ruptura and Viver are on Aberdeen in Hurston. So as I said, guys, these sites are very likely to be contested. There's going to be other players milling around these locations because it's the only location you can find pure Caronite, which is one of the most expensive and sought after minerals in the game. It opens the whole event here opens a mine beneath the orbital laser platform. Or other players that are just looking for the loot like we are, or perhaps even groups just looting the sites in preparation for running the event proper. So on approach, use your scanner regularly and look out for other player ships with a white blip. If the site's hot, you can either bug out, go somewhere else, or take the fight. It's your choice. So overhead there you can see the orbital laser platform, or OLP, and then below that there are 3 platform alignment facilities, or PAFs, that all point towards the OLP. And the event works by going to each of the PAFs, fighting through the mobs on site, finding alignment cards, aligning the satellites at each site towards the OLP, and you go up to the OLP, charge some batteries at each PAF and take those with you, and power up the OLP, take a firing card from there and drop down to a bunker that's in the middle of all of the PAFs, which is where the firing button is, and that fires the laser. We're not here to do the full event today, we're just looking to loot the PAFs and the OLPs for their fantastic loot boxes. Each one of these has 3 red card rooms, which all have large armour crates in, which have the best chance of spawning the rare armour types. There's lots of loot scattered around this site, and then when you align the satellite, there's 1 yellow garage that has even more loot boxes in it, some really nice, potentially grade A military and stealth components, and the battery for the satellite platform above. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a whistle-stop tour around one of the sites. They're all laid out slightly differently, but it's basically the same thing at each site. The main antenna building right there in the middle, which is where the garage is, right next to the landing pad where it says Patho 2 there. And then the rest of the site is made up of 2 different building types. These with the blue garage doors, which are normally closed. There's a current bug in patch 4.5 that is jamming the doors open, it seems. They seem to all be open, so it's not going to show you the full mechanics in this particular run. It is kind of a free lunch, so get it while it's hot. This is the second type of building. These doors are normally open, and that's where the blue cards spawn. The buildings with the blue garage doors are where the red cards spawn. And we need 3 red cards to get into the 3 locked loot rooms inside the main antenna there, to grab alignment cards, and then we're going to align the satellite, and that gives us access to, when that's aligned, the yellow garage there that's next to the landing pad. I do like to use the landing pad, it's quite a convenient central spot in the location. And let's get on with clearing the site. So there are a lot of NPCs on these sites, and you need to be prepared. They even come right to your ship for you. You need to bring plenty of ammo, and I'm running heavy head armour, heavy chest armour, and medium arms and legs, and I've got a nice big backpack because I'm a loot goblin. As you start to clear the site, we're looking to create a path to the central building and to the blue card rooms first, and then the red cards in that order in a normal run. It's also a good idea to keep an eye on the sky as you're doing this, because player ships can come in and shoot you from the sky and obviously drop players that can cause you a problem. I got lucky on this run at this first phase and didn't see anybody. If you do get clipped by any of the NPCs, just make sure to heal. Try and keep your health up above 60%. Normally, we'd be making a run for that blue building first, and then over to that red building that I'm looking at now. I'm just clearing some of the NPCs that are on the roof because they can shoot you from quite a long way away and make your run to the building quite tricky. And then we're going to head over, in this case, straight to the red card room, because with the bug, we don't actually need the blue card. And that's an example of a dive bombing NPC ship from above hitting the facility. It's lucky that didn't hit my ship. So we could see from a distance, but the doors are open. This is not supposed to be the case. You're supposed to need a blue card to open that garage door that I've just stepped through. Have a quick loot while I'm here. Nice tattoo 4 times and a grenade launcher. Not a bad start to the loot run. Let's have a little look what we've got and then grab the key card. These outer buildings do have loot. It's not the best. Feel free to check it. It's not something I'd recommend spending a huge amount of time on. You want to get into the middle building as fast as possible. Just to show you guys, I've gone to one of the blue card rooms to claim a blue card, just so you can see what that looks like for the sake of this video guide. There's 3 different layouts to these. They're all slightly different with slightly different jumping puzzles. But it's pretty much the same deal in each room. There will be NPC spawns potentially. I got lucky, there wasn't really anyone in this one. And you just want to, same thing as we did with the red keycard printer, claim our blue keycard. And there's currently another bug, Star Citizen, with a door on this type of blue room that I found. So I think it'll be the case that I can't open this door. Nope. But there is a workaround. So you can use these shells. You can jump up on the first one, jump up on the second one. And with the nice low gravity on Daymar, you can do a nice big jump over the fence. Get out. And always keep your head on a swivel. Now these side rooms on the main building are pretty good. They do take a blue card to open, so if you have any spare ones, you can use them on these. And as you can see here, I find a nice arrowhead sniper rifle, which, just in case I need a bit of range, I decide to take. And then I find a nice orc iceborne skinned helmet, which I'm collecting, so I grab that. Now, one of the reasons why I like the parallax rifle on this site is because they spawn on these weapon racks, and so you can just top your ammo up as you're working around. You don't get interrupted in the process. I also love it because it can do that. The audio cues in the game are really useful. I should have known that there was a guy close there, but got myself into a bit of a sticky situation. Lucky with the NPCs being potato aims. They're very good with their grenades though, and that one sort of stunned me. I thought I was down, but it was just a bit of concussion. So as I was saying, you can just reload your ammo as you're on the fly with this gun. And then on the opposite side of the building is another external blue room with a large garage door this time, not the small one. And again, just some more loot crates in here where you can find armour and weapons and so on. It's worth checking the blue crates because they can spawn the medals in pristine condition. I found quite a few in these runs. It might be the only way to get it in 4.5 because I don't think they're dropping from the Ace Interceptors anymore. Just checking, I think that's a set of DCP armour, so that's the ex-Wicklow. It used to be in Wicklow, but it's now in the main loot pool, so that's interesting. And then I see this player starting to move in on location. So things change now. I was basically just looting before and killing NPCs. Now this guy's messing about. I've got to be a bit careful. He could easily shoot me with his ship. I don't know that he's hostile. You do sometimes meet players that aren't hostile. So we get into a bit of a cat and mouse game here of who's going to shoot first, what's happening, and he decides to land, which is a bit strange. I think he was probably friendly, so if that's the case and you end up watching this video, I'm sorry for killing you. But I decided to be safe rather than sorry and just take him down. Now he's arrived in the Pisces, so he's got a spawn potentially in the back, so I was a bit concerned about that. I wanted to check if he had anything worth taking, and he did have a blue card. Here's the tier 0 loot system. I can only loot his backpack, his consumables and his ammo. So your armour is always safe when it's on your body. One tip for looting quickly is if there's boxes on the floor like that, you can just whip out your multi-tool tractor and pick it up and it'll tell you what it is. So I dipped inside to get the red card quickly, came back, wanted to check he wasn't respawning on his bed, and then I thought, I know what I can do, I'll just self-destruct this ship so the respawn disappears and he can't come in behind me and flank me. Key for self-destruct is hold backspace, which I was thinking was such a clever idea until I realised all the doors are closed and I don't have permission to open them. So I then panicked quite badly, and then a thought occurred to me: if I could get into the pilot seat in time, I could cancel self-destruct and use my keybind for open all doors from the pilot's chair, which is right control and left bracket. With the doors open, I re-triggered self-destruct and escaped, and as you could see, it was 1 second to blowing up there, so that was a very close call. It could have ended my run. I wasn't so lucky. All the commotion has brought a lot of NPCs to play, so I just need to sort those guys out first, and then I'm going to go back and get the red card. And there goes his ship. So that's his respawn taken care of. I'm going to go get my red card. So now we have 2 red cards. We can head to the central building. Now, one thing I wanted to mention was my set that I wear on these runs is all shop or armour. It's all stuff that you just buy in the space station. So when you're looting armour, if you find a nice piece, you can use that tier 0 loot system to your advantage. You can actually just equip it and then it's basically protected. It's on your body and it's insured against death. You get killed, it will be on your body when you get back to the space station and respawn. Now this is the final red key card, and you can see there that there's a timer still on it, so another player has taken it, and I think it takes 45 minutes for them to respawn. So another player has been here before me, and normally that would be a pretty big problem because I need 3 and I've only got 2. Luckily, because of this bug that's happening in 4.5, the doors are open and I don't even need the key cards in the first place. Now this is not normal, to emphasise, but again, make hay while the sun shines, get yourself down to Hathor and loot away, guys. I mean, until they fix it. So there we go. So there's some nice armour in these rooms. We've got star kit and helmet. We've got a pyrotechnic Morozov backpack, which is, sorry, Horizon backpack, which is very nice. Pyrotechnic Morozov sets are well thought of. Lots of people will be interested in buying those, and they look really cool. And then this is the second of the red card rooms, which again is open. There's an ADP core there. I don't particularly want that armour, but I just put things outside the room so if another player comes along and the door's closed, they can get them. I think that's just a nice community spirited way of dealing with the loot. Just put it outside so that people can take it if you don't want it. And then we jump down to the bottom level and get the final loot room. Now each of these loot rooms has the alignment cards on the wall, and we need those to align the laser and get the last section of loot. Here's a Morozov pyrotechnic backpack normal, and there's an easy way to get the armour set in pyro, which I'll show you in another video, but getting the backpack can be really difficult. So the pyrotechnic backpack's a nice find because it allows you to complete that set really easily, so those are worth taking. There's always one large and one medium size loot crate in here. I really like the Orc Arms Singularity, but I'm running into a problem here. I've not got space in my backpack anymore, and you can't loot backpacks into backpacks. That makes sense. So I actually just choose to tractor that backpack back over towards my ship so that I can take it in and either put it in my loot crate or put it in my inventory. And as I'm getting there, I realise that somebody's trying to mine my ship with a golem, which is interesting. So I don't think he was even aware of me getting back on board, but I didn't notice the dead body on the left as I came in there. But I realised that my ship is in a really bad way and no power. And when I get in my pilot seat, I see that my ship ports are unlocked, which you can do with right Alt and K, by the way, which means that another player's been in there and has started trying to loot the components from it. Now, I don't know if the NPCs went up the ramp and shot the power plants, or the player did. And then this guy has come along, seeing what he thought was a dead ship, started trying to do something to it. I don't really know what he was doing with the golem. But I started to try and do some item recovery here. So I pulled my crate out, hid it underneath, hoping that they wouldn't find it. I mean, they can scan with their ship and see it, so it's pretty unlikely that you wouldn't find it. Put the grenade launcher on my back, so it's then protected. And then I realised he's looking at me, so I thought I might see if I can scare it off. I didn't have a boom tube or anything really capable of taking down a vehicle like a railgun, so I was a bit stuck for being able to fight this guy. My ship's dead. I've got no weapons that can really damage a ship. Thankfully, I think the 2 or 3 grenades to the face has sort of scared the guy in the golem off. So I try and see what I can do about recovering my ship, and it's that point I realise there's a player here. He's probably been up to no good. My ship's pretty much goosed at this point, so I give up on the ship. You can see he's got the Cardinal Overlord legs on there, so he may have found those on this site actually. So I just try and consolidate my loot, basically put what I know I would like to get home into my backpack, leave the rest in the crate on the off chance that I can get back later and pick it up and take it away again, hoping that nobody notices it. And then this guy appears. So I think that's 3 players total so far. And he didn't do a very good job of coming back to get me. I'm pretty sure that's the same guy that I killed in the Pisces. Didn't see his name. But I'm in a bit of a pickle at this point. And then I remembered there's an SRT tool in one of the boxes I'd looted earlier. The large rifle repair tool. So I went back to find it. I did actually cut the video shortly there. And I decided, why don't I just give this engineering a go? It's the first time I've thought about doing engineering since 4.5 dropped. I don't do a huge amount of ship combat. I haven't had a fire on board. I usually just blow up straight away, so I haven't had a chance to do it. But I thought, do you know what? If engineering's in, then surely, with an SRT tool, I can repair my ship. So I went back, fighting off waves of enemies. They don't really ever stop spawning, so it's normally a pretty intense fight. And you can see I've got a tier 2 injury, so I'm just being a bit cautious now, because I can start to get to a point where I'll drop my gun if I get a worse injury on my arm. And I used the secondary feature on the med gun there just to put some drugs into my body to counteract the injury. So it took me a while to work out how to actually use it, because I haven't yet. And hey presto, 16% of my SRT canister to repair my power plant. Do the second one. It's just right trigger with the SRT to repair, left trigger to salvage. Everything else looks okay. Hull's pretty bad off, but I can get out of here with a power plant working. Just like that, my ship works again. So whereas before I was thinking, go find myself a nice little hidey hole, wait out my combat timer, log out, and log back in at the space station to secure my loot in the space station inventory, which is your one option for extracting loot. Now I'm back to plan A, which is extracting in my ship. repair damaged components from the HUD there. And we're back in business. At this point, normally I would probably take off, especially if I had any nice loot, but I hadn't really found anything super exciting. So I decided, as I'm trying to make this guide, I'm going to go back in and complete the alignment and get the last loot boxes in the garage, and we'll do that next. So once you've got your 3 alignment blades, I like to use this little shipping container as cover. I'm just going to go to advanced and auto to drug myself back up again before the fight so that I can hold my weapon and everything. And we're going to head over to this control panel for the satellite, holster our weapon, carry the card, press F to place it. That starts essentially a 2-minute triggered event where the NPCs get some spawn triggers and a bunch of juvenile Valakar will spawn in and around the building, which you have to fight off. It can get a bit hairy, but it's not too bad this part. It's usually manageable. If another player comes along or a group of players, you can be in big trouble, but and they can scan and see the Valakar from the air, so they'll know somebody's doing it or has done it recently if that's still going. But yeah, they're noisy, and the vibrations from the satellite aligning can be a bit off-putting, but it's not too bad. They're very, very allergic to bullets, these things. They don't take a lot of killing, so just keep on top of the worms and the NPCs. Keep in cover, keep an eye on your health. You should be fine. So I've just skipped ahead to placing third and final card here because nothing exciting really happened on the second one. And as soon as that card goes in, the big yellow garage will open, and this contains the orbital laser platform battery. You start seeing the dish for the satellite start to open and turn towards the OLP, and there's a large gun box, a large armor box, a large blue box, and some ship components in this room. So if you can get to this stage, it is worth doing. As I said earlier in the video, you can get stealth grade A and military grade A components at this loot room. And there's some really good cover in here as well. You can get yourself tucked in the corners and get cover for the from the enemies. Scalpel sniper rifle in there. Pembroke suit, some Overlord flashback. I've got those already. There's nothing in there that I particularly need. And then I noticed the helmet on the floor, so I do like those Orc Singularity skins. And I think, oh, I'll take that. Sorry, Orc Nightfire. So you can just pick up a helmet with F and it'll stash it for you. Then you can press I for inventory and drag it into your backpack, assuming you've got space. I'd like to check the blue boxes because they do have those medals quite regularly. Again, just putting the components outside. I don't really need any of them, but just in case anybody else comes along that does need them. And the battery too. And at this point on this particular run, I'm out. I'm heading back to my ship and I'm going to get out of here because it's very, very red. And if another player comes along and shoots at me, I'm going to go down very quickly. But because my ship's still working, I can go over to advanced. So that's done by holding F on the med gun. Click the slider across to advanced, drug yourself up, and then back to basic in case you need to do normal heals. I grab my loot box. Put it on the ship. Have my coveted Morozov backpack, Morozov pyrotechnic backpack. You can just drag things into loot containers when they're close to them like that. With a quick loot gathering tip. And I honestly never expected to get this ship out of here in one piece. But we're out. Now the loot on this run wasn't particularly exciting, but everything you saw on the montage on the intro to the video has been looted here. So DCP armour, Overlord armour, Morozov pyrotechnic armour. You can find ADP Mark IV, Mark V armour. Used to be in the shops but isn't anymore. You can find Citadel armour. You can find all variants of medium armour, Orc, Inquisitor. There's so much in these loot boxes. The loot pool's massive. Now, there is a really good resource, a guy called Chris CBG that has an amazing Google sheet that's got all the details on all this stuff. I'm not sure if it's fully updated for 4.5 at the moment, but it's a really, really good resource, so I'll put the link for that in the video description. That will give you a good idea of what's available in what location. So because I've been fighting with other players, I'm just going to pop to the Galleria on Seraphim Station, head up these stairs. As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, I've got a Crimestat of 2. Don't want that to get to 3 because then you start not being able to use space stations and you have to go to Grimhex and do all sorts of other stuff. So I'm just going to go log into the system and pay all my fines. 72k is not cheap. Early doors, when you haven't played for very long, those fines can be very expensive, but you can just go to prison just by pressing surrender. And then I just wanted to show you what it looks like when the doors are working. So here's some slightly older footage. When you do need to get the red key cards and get in here, the other good thing is when the doors are working, you can close them behind you so the NPCs can't come up behind you. And then just a few final examples of some of the loot that you can find in these PAF sites, which is very good. Then just to prove that the military A-grade components do spawn in those garages, there's a VK00 on a separate run that I did. So let's head up to the OLP. You can do 3 paths, obviously. You can, some runs you'll get through all 3 without seeing another player. For the sake of the video and the length, we're just going to go straight up to an OLP. And in this example, there's a white player ship. So I'm just going to scan him by pressing V to go into scanning mode. And I can see his game rules, so he's been there for a long time, he's abandoned, and that means I'm all good. And as you approach the OLP, there's going to be 5, 6, sometimes more, usually prospectors. I think there's some Guardian NPC ships. You can fight them, you can come in with a ship capable. I've chosen to use my my Zeus with 4 size 2 shields. It's pretty robust, and a bit like the QV stations in Nyx, the NPCs really aren't too good at flying around structures. So if you just come in and park, you can hear all the explosions behind me. They're just crashing into the OLP. You can get your ship destroyed doing this. They will sometimes survive and get enough shots off on your shields to lower them and actually damage your ship. But I found that generally you can just park up and the NPCs just take care of themselves, bashing up against the space station. I do sometimes come in my F8C and just blow them all up for the fun of it, but you don't need to do that really. You can usually get away with a looting run without it. And here I'm just using my ship weapons to clear out the OLP before I land, just so I don't walk out of my ship into a hail of gunfire. This site is very similar to below. There's a lot of NPCs that spawn it can be very hectic. It's also PvP, very likely. You're almost for sure going to see other players at these locations from time to time.
I got you. Go, go.
So we're just going to drop ourselves down on the landing pad. Leave our shields on the ship for those any of those remaining NPCs, just so they can't blow us up too easily. With them being prospectors most of the time, they don't have a huge amount of firepower. And I'm just going to take my loot crate with me, because it's very useful to have it in the platform for putting equipment on. You can use that cargo elevator to store things on the platform. So you could store the crate here, you can drop gear onto there as well and come back for it another time if you get hot and you need to get out quickly. We're just going to work our way in to the centre of the laser platform where the firing room is. It's all quite symmetrical. You're working your way into the middle here to the firing area, and there's a red loot room here that needs a supervisor keycard. And you can see that there was a medal in that box, which I think I'm going to go back for, and it's damaged. Unfortunately, it's not a pristine, but they are worth checking because those can spawn as pristines and they're very valuable. Now, I came here over and over and over again, and there's supposed to be a boss NPC that spawns when you kill enough NPCs, sorry. There's a boss with a special armor set, a set of Pembroke exploration suit armor. I have seen him once in the past on a previous patch, but this patch, not once. I've sat up here for over an hour and a half killing NPCs and he's never spawned. I've taken the missions that send you here from the unverified tab. Settler score, I think it's called, and there's one for cargo as well to try and see if that triggers his spawn. I've activated all the lasers so that the sort of platform is up and running, and he still doesn't seem to show up. So I think that NPC that gives you the red key card for the room behind me here is just a bug, and he's either very unreliable or just broken and not spawning at all. But I do have a workaround for you, only to be used because that isn't possible. But we can still get ourselves in there to see what loot is on site, and then hopefully CIG fix the boss spawning and we can do things the proper way. But it's very cheesy, and I really don't advocate this generally, but I'm trying to show you guys what loot is available here, and there is a way around the current bug, so there it is. Please use responsibly. And the reason why I've done that is because in here is good loot. You get a number of crates in one room. It's very densely packed, and it's a brilliant place to come to if you're trying to find particular armor sets. There's also some really good components in here as well. FR66, polar coolers. Now this orange box, in patch 4.5 at least, is almost always, I haven't seen anything else in there, a full set of the Antium camo armor, which is super cool. I'm not sure as yet if there's anywhere where the normal Antium ammo armor spawns. And there's at least 2 or 3 other large armor crates which all have the same loot pool, I believe, as the ones down below, but these seem to have I think a higher chance of spawning some of the rarer stuff. I've found Overlord Cardinal has a 4.5's loot refresh. I found Gilded Cardinal. The DCP that's come off of Wicklow is here. There's Citadel armor. There's Microid armor, Inquisitor armor, all variants. Orc armor, all variants. Dust Devil armor, full set I found here. Morozov Pyrotechnic armor. Again, all this is covered in Chris GBG's sheet, which the link is in the description. And I'm not sure it's fully updated right now, but I'm sure it will be soon. And that will tell you what is available at which location. So yeah, this is really worth getting into, guys, and hopefully we can do it the right way. And there we go, there's my cardinal red helmet. Now here's just an example of that loot technique I talked about earlier in the video. I've got my essentially disposable helmet because it's just from the shop, and I switch into that rare helmet there because I've been looking for that for ages, and I put it on my character there. And now it's safe. Even if somebody comes along and kills me when I wake up in the space station after regenning, I'll have that piece of armor, which is really nice. And obviously on these platforms with the cargo deck, you can move everything to the cargo deck and lower it down and save it if you want. The other reason why having the loot container is really useful is because you can bring it in, load everything into it, take way more than just an inventory's worth of equipment. So it's like an extended backpack basically. You just loot away till your heart's content. So in the central area near the firing room, which is over there, there are 2 yellow keycard printers that give you storage access keys. Yellow storage access keys. And perpendicular to the landing pads there are 4, 2 on each side, storage rooms with yellow locked doors, which these key cards unlock. And these are also quite tightly packed, very nice little loot rooms, and very much worth a visit if you're looking for armor sets or other things. NPCs still blowing themselves up in the background. Again, you can close the door to cover your back. Multi-tool trick to check what's been dropped previously. There you go, so there's a pyrotechnic helmet, which is nice. Some Citadel white armour. Some decent stuff in here. So at the end of each run, what I like to do is bring the loot back to home station. All the armour's in the crate. Drop it down into the warehouse at the space station. Go across the standard container filter. It will normally always be the last container. And then you can just select everything that you've looted on that run. Drag it all over onto the freight elevator. Send it up. Then send it back down again, and it'll all be split into your station inventory. Okay guys, so that's a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed this guide. I hope you've learned something. At the end of the day, that's what this series is meant to be about, is sharing the knowledge and encouraging people to get out into the verse and look for the cool things that are out there. In the next video, I'm going to be tackling the ASD Onyx facilities and all the treasures they've got to hide. And if this helped, please drop a like, subscribe for the next part in the series, and let me know in the comments where you found your best armour so far. Thanks for watching. Radical Panda, out.